All right, everyone. We are back. And I mean we are back because Brody and I actually filmed a whole 30-minute segment of this earlier today at 9 a.m. It was 10 out of 10. It was 11 out of 10. Gold. Found out it wasn't recording afterwards, so had to make a few technological tweaks. I've got Brody on the cell phone now. Might not be able to hear him as well as you could before, but I'm 100% sure it's recording. That being said, I am joined today by a Maester of Thrones himself, Brody Oliver, who happens to be the newest member of the San Diego Chargers. He is going to join us for the episode 4, the Last of the Starks recap video, before he heads off to Chargers camp on Thursday. Say hello to everyone, Brody.
Glad to be here. I'm glad I could finally make the show. Let's get into it, huh?
All 50 of our followers already love you. All right, so here we go, guys. So what we're going to do, and after talking with a bunch of people last week, you guys didn't want me to time cap the video, so we're not going to time cap it. We're both going to go through our initial knee-jerk reactions. This is what we thought last night, immediately after the episode, not after we had time to think about it. And then we're going to go scene by scene from the episode last night. And then at the end, we will talk about what we think all this means moving forward into next week, and possibly even for the end of the series. So here we go. I'll start us off. So a lot of you guys know this, but yesterday about 12 p.m., I was scrolling through Twitter, and Miss Sandy's decapitation scene had leaked online, and some idiot posted it on Twitter. So I had known about this yesterday since 12 p.m. I was mortified. My wife was pissed at me for being mortified. So that's why I didn't make a prediction video. It was pretty tough on me yesterday. So as you can see, spoilers need life in prison. I actually Googled if you can get life in prison for spoiling Game of Thrones yesterday, and it turns out no one cares about that as much as I do. So I was pretty pissed off. But I apologize for no prediction video. I'll make up for it this upcoming week with a few guest appearances. Okay, so moving into the episode, I thought that was the best episode of the season thus far. Truly was Game of Thrones to a T, whether it be so many of the callbacks they did, so much of the building up that they did, and then obviously the breaking it just completely down, just tearing us down. I thought that was very Game of Thrones-esque. Moving into the most shocking scene of the night, I guess, obviously, was Miss Sandy's, however you want to say her name's, decapitation. If you didn't see that coming, that's on you, because they have built her up as a character with zero plot, zero anything for years, and in my opinion, just raising her as a quote-unquote pig for slaughter. So I anticipated her being a sacrifice at some point this season, and if you're brokenhearted about it, that's fine, but you shouldn't be surprised by any means. Rhaegal, same thing. Rhaegal, RIP, was super pissed about it, but at the same time, I mean, I'm surprised he survived the Battle of Winterfell, and I'll take that as a win. So I was super shocked that they went from 3 direct hits to Rhaegal and then couldn't hit Drogon with the a million different shots. So I thought that was funny. And then last and final thought, guys, it's Mad Queen versus Mad Queen. You thought this was a 2-way battle. This is a 3-way battle. Mad Queen over here. And then we got Jon up here trying to take them both out. So, Brody, what did you think?
Like you said, banger of an episode, best one of the season so far. Loved it. A lot of stuff's coming. They foreshadowed a lot of theories coming around, and I mean, it was just crazy. Like Endo said, anytime someone's on a ship. Sorry, my dog's barking in the background.
We love dogs here on the show.
I might have to bring her in here in a bit.
Do it.
But like you said, Mad Queen, Dany's going off the deep end. She's done. She wants one thing, and it's coming. So.
Yep.
I'm actually going to go get my pup so she stops barking. But go ahead, Endo, with your funeral, first scene.
Okay, talking about the funeral, guys. Obviously, we're going scene by scene here, so not much to talk about here. I thought that other than a few practical dangers of people standing in the middle of all the pyres when they were lighting them on fire, funeral scene was well done. Hi, puppers. Look at that, puppers,
Hi,
everyone.
Monica. Yeah, she's a good little dog.
We had Ella, my cat, on last week, so this is just an awesome. We are friends of animals here on the show. A lot of people asking what Dany was saying to Jorah, and when she was whispering in his ear. I don't think she was saying anything to him. I just simply think she was saying, "Hey, love you. Sorry I couldn't love you like I love Jon." Brody, click out of that low battery thing on your phone.
Yeah, sorry. How do I do this? Is that better?
No, it's still on.
I don't have a battery deal going.
Oh, is it my phone?
That's your phone.
My bad. All right. So, Brody, what'd you think of the funeral?
Funeral, they have to open it that way. You can't just move past that. It was good. A lot of people dead. I don't think there's enough funeral peers for the amount of people that died because it had to have been like 20,000 people or something.
Yeah. So.
But moving on to the celebration feast, starting with Gendry getting, Lord Gendry of Storm's End. That was, good move by Dany in my opinion. She almost has to do it. She's going to start rewarding people, and she needs people to start helping her rule and get more people that are loyal to her. The drinking with Tyrion, Brienne, Pod, and Jaime, that's a callback to when Tyrion did that with Bronn and Shay. I think season 2, or maybe season 1.
I think it was season 1, but whatever.
Yeah. Great scene. A lot of laughs. Big moment here is Sansa and the Hound. First thing, everyone should be incredibly hyped. Clegane Bowl confirmed. That's happening. That dude, it's going to be great. Next, Sansa tells him about all the terrible things that happened to her, and she's thankful for it because it kind of made her into who she was. Otherwise, she'd still be that little bird. So, a lot of things have happened, but it's kind of why she's where she's at now. And the Hound. The fact that Sansa fed Ramsay to the Hounds, and the Hound loves that. He eats it up. That's a great moment.
Yeah.
And then a big moment here is Dany. She kind of feels isolated from the whole group. Tormund's, talking Jon up, saying how he's a king. All these big things about Jon and how good of a person he is. He just, he got killed, comes back, and he's still fighting for the living. So I think that sets up a lot of stuff going forward in the episode about Dany and how she's feeling. Endo, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. So just reiterating what you said and to piggyback on it, won't spend too much time. So Gendry's part was awesome, even though in my opinion it's going to be all for naught. I think whoever eventually rules will recognize Gendry as Lord of Storm's End, but it freaking certainly, in my opinion, is not going to be Dany. So the drinking game callback was fantastic. And then, Sansa and the Hound, just for all the people who were so distraught over Sansa's horrific treatment over the years, I think it was satisfying for me at least to hear her say, I don't wish anything wouldn't happen. It's all made me who I am. And that's one badass chick now. So I thought that was fulfilling for me. And then obviously what Brody said is like, the Hound says, I got one thing that's going to make me happy. And that's basically the Clegane Bowl. So, and then the Hound loved how Sansa killed Ramsay, which brought me happiness as well. And then, I just think that when Tormund was praising Jon, he literally got murdered and came back, and he just keeps fighting. And Dany, you can just see Dany slowly drifting off into lonely despair. And, they've been building it up, and I thought at some point they were going to cut it off and make Dany eventually turn good and kind of get over it and embrace Jon. But she went the opposite way, and we'll get into that more later. So,
one quick thing I want to mention, because it's kind of in the background. We were talking about it earlier. Pod the Rod God, he ended up basically smiling his way into a three-way. I don't know if you guys saw him, but he left the feast with 2 women. Like, what a baller this guy is.
His legend has made its way north over the years. From what he did to those girls back in King's Landing. So, awesome. All right, so to piggyback on that, and then I guess to talk about Jaime and Brienne, and I have this split up chronologically, but I'm actually going to move. Instead of chronologically, I'm just going to take over Jaime and Brienne all in one here. So Jaime and Brienne, obviously, them, getting together was a fantastic payoff and made everyone happy. Certainly made me happy. But then when he leaves, this is kind of splitting fans. Some people think he broke bad again. Some people think he's going down to kill Cersei. What does it mean? I don't know. I think that the writers and the directors purposely left that ambiguous because we don't know. He says that everything that he ever did was for Cersei, but at the same time he said it negatively. And I think, in my opinion, and Brody, you can give yours, is that he's going to annihilate Cersei so he can be fully liberated from her. And who he is as a person can be liberated from his past and the decisions that he made for Cersei. It was sad when he left because I wanted him and Brienne to stay forever, but it wouldn't be a battle if Jaime didn't go down and if Brienne doesn't follow him. Brienne better freaking follow him. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't think that's the last we're going to see of Brienne by any means. As for Jaime, I could see it going both ways, but I think that whole hateful speech that he gave, I think he actually hates his sister Cersei, and I agree with you. I think he's going down there to kill her and fulfill the Valonqar prophecy.
Yep, love it. See what we got next.
Next up, we have Arya and Gendry.
All right.
So, Gendry, bro, read the room. You got to know Arya is... She's not going to be a dress-wearing lady. She just killed the Night King. She's going to be a badass till she's the end of her days. Like, yep. I mean, not much to say about here, in my opinion. What are your thoughts, Endo?
No, yeah, for sure. It's like you said it right. Just read the room. I mean, this lady just committed the greatest, helped secure the greatest comeback victory in human history with a fourth quarter Hail Mary stab to the heart of the Night King. And what is who calls him the horned bastard? Doesn't Tormund call him like the ice-horned bastard or something like that? That was pretty funny, but that's all I really have to say on that. So moving into, we'll just stay on the theme of Arya, moving into Arya and the Hound now as they ride away. Fantastic not a payoff because they still have time together, but call back and emphasis and them riding off. Now the Hound more human than he was before, and Arya less Arya. So it's like they each went in a little bit. They moved closer to each other, one by becoming more savage, one by becoming a little bit less savage, I guess, in my opinion. But both with the same goal. So they're going to go destroy the mountain. It's going to be awesome. And then Arya's going to try to take out Cersei. So what'd you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I love those two. They're awesome together. It's funny because I remember earlier I think that was it's probably season 2. The Hound says that the sweetest thing in life is killing, and obviously now Arya, like, that's the only thing that motivates her or drives her is just killing. So You got two people who just love death, love killing, and those two are an awesome combo right there.
Yeah, a very, very deadly combination. So let's see, where are we at?
Moving on, are we on Bronn?
Yeah, let's do Bronn.
So Bronn coming in, I was pumped to see Bronn. We haven't seen him since episode 1, and that dude is awesome. One of the coolest characters. He's probably honestly one of the smartest, like, logical characters in the show, which is weird for a sellsword. But like, the dude he just wants to be paid.
He wants that castle.
Exactly. He wants that big castle. He wants, just the guy's awesome. I thought it was interesting. He's kind of playing both sides, and whoever he thinks is going to win, he's going to follow. So that was pretty pumped to see Bronn. What are your thoughts, Endo?
Bronn in his truest form, right? He shows up with the crossbow and basically says, "You told me that you'd double the payment to Tyrion of what anyone else ever offered me. Your sister offered me River Run. What can you offer me?" And that's just Bronn in his truest form. Like, of all these people, and we talked about it earlier, Brody, that didn't get videoed, but we talked about all these people coming full circle and everything that's happened to them, making them who they are. Bronn has been him since season 1. He has been himself, and he is not loyal to anyone except for getting paid. Fantastic scene. Bronn's character and Jerome Flynn, I think that's his name, his actor, just did a fantastic job. So, moving on. Okay, so now we're starting to get a little bit more into the more emphatic scenes. Okay, so we got Jon and Dany in the bedroom, where I thought that whole time that was going to be, so she kind of fell into her lonely despair at the celebration feast, and I thought the bedroom scene was going to bring her back up and like fully buy her into either a dual rule or buying into Jon as king. But it blew up. And the way she was acting at the end, like that's some of Emilia Clarke's best acting. When she's holding his hand and her eyes are in it. She's like, you cannot tell anyone. And she's just so desperate. It's like that is the moment where she was on the ledge and she jumps off. And I think that's where she really flipped from sane to insane. And then it just continued to go deeper and deeper throughout the rest of the episode. I thought that was a very powerful moment and one that we'll look back on as being like, oh, that was the tipping point for her. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. When he's like, well, I have to tell them, or that's my family, like it's all gonna work out. And she's like, I already told you how it can work out. And like as soon as she said that, I mean, she's done. She's full blown mad, and I think all the characters in the show are coming to realize it. But we'll get to that more later.
Yeah.
Next one, the battle planning. So this is a big scene. So something important that I noticed that a lot of people I think are getting misled on is Danny didn't have that many people that went with her or that were going to go with her in the boats. John and Davos still took majority of the Unsullied, whatever's left of the Dothraki, which is not much, all the Northmen and the Knights of the Vale who are left. So John has most of the people going with him that are riding down from Winterfell. So, I mean, John basically bending his will to Dany, that's going to come important later when we have Tyrion and Varys talking. Yeah. But John's 100% down with Dany. Sansa, I mean, she's logical. Dude, I'm Team Sansa all the way. She's awesome. I think she's the smartest one of them all. I'll let you go ahead and finish this up, Endo.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, John basically declares him on Dany's side, good idea or bad idea of hers in front of everyone, and that really pisses off Arya and Sansa. Sansa's rest suggestion obviously comes into play here in the next scene, in 2 scenes when they're on the boats. They should have rested everyone. And I think at that point, that's when I was like, I'm fully in on Sansa. Like, so I am Team Sansa. She is a badass. And she has proven herself as a logistical thinker, a great thinker, the most clever person around, and obviously a good strategizer in terms of battle. So, but I just can't help but think these guys have the worst battle plans ever. Like, I think it's John that says, instead of burning them, let's just starve them out. Okay, I'm sure that they'll be a lot happier that they got starved instead of burned. So, I don't know, from the suicide Dothraki march to now this, and then they just go on the boats and lose Rhaegal, just whatever. I guess now moving from the battle planning to the final scene, when Jon is leaving, and I'll let you comment on this when after I say it though, Brody, but when Jon's farewell to Tormund is the teariest side I got in the episode. It's like those two started so far apart, and then they came together, and Tormund would literally give his life for Jon. That was very impactful, and I hope we don't see the wildlings again. I hope that they don't come back in this last bit to save the day down in King's Landing. I hope that's the last we see of them, and they can kind of go off and restart their colony as a testament to the great man that Mance Rayder was. And then moving into Ghost, and a lot of people are saying that Ghost didn't get a proper farewell. Well, I mean, he did. Jon and him kind of have this, telepathic communication going. So that's my take on it. But what about you?
So, I mean, as for Tormund, it just goes to show how good of a dude Jon is.
Yeah.
I mean, he's, with his worst enemies, he's really good friends now with one of his worst enemies.
Yeah.
As for Ghost, I was a little bummed. Like, you couldn't even give him a pat on the head. Like, I'll give a little demonstration here. But you couldn't even go over to little Ghost, be like, hey, you're a good little dog. You're good. You're good.
Yeah.
So, that kind of bummed me out. But one thing that I'm kind of curious of, and we talked about this a little bit on the first take, was Sam Tarly,
yeah.
He's going back. I mean, we're assuming he's going back to Horn Hill, but I mean, how much of a factor is he going to play in the episodes to come? I'm not sure. We'll see, but I think that has big implications about who's going to control the reach at the end of this thing. I know 100%. It's a theory, but we'll see.
Yeah, you asked that before, and I said, I mean, you asked where you think Sam's going, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he's just going back to Horn Hill, to stake his claim, hopefully stake his claim, and certainly one of the future rulers, whether it be, well, hopefully not Danny, but John will legitimize him, even though it is still his family, so he shouldn't have to stake his claim at Horn Hill. But who knows where they're at in terms of the treason that Sam's dad committed against Highgarden and the actual seat of the Reach. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So, anyways.
So moving on to Jon, Sansa, and Arya and Bran in the Godswood there. So Jon basically tells Sansa and Arya, well, he doesn't. He lets Bran do it. I don't know why he told Sansa. Like, Sansa's she's grown up from the biggest schemers in the show. She's a schemer herself. Does not last. Literally 37 or a minute later, 30-some seconds later, she tells Tyrion.
Yeah.
It just had me dying. You actually brought up a good point. I'll let you go ahead here, Endo, about what they could have had Jon say.
Yeah, so when Jon's revealing to Arya and Sansa, he says, swear to me, swear to me, swear to me. Wouldn't that have been a great point for Jon to say, promise me, as a payoff to his mom telling Sansa and Arya's dad to promise her that he would keep the secret about Jon's parentage? I don't know. Missed opportunity by them, but still a powerful scene. I wish we could have seen Arya and Sansa's reaction. Sorry, my phone is wigging out. It was going to die, so I had to plug it in. I will unplug it here in a second. So if it's messing up on the video, I apologize, people. Just listen to these words and listen to his words. So this is certainly a much less successful attempt at videoing than we did this morning. But hey, we're making it work. I would have loved to have seen Arya and Sansa's reaction. I thought that probably would have taken a little bit too much time for them to fully encapsulate the scene as opposed to cutting it short. So what they chose to do was just cut it out completely. Also, ironic, Jon's has this emotional back and forth with whether or not he should tell him. And then finally he's like, all right, Bran, you tell him. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, so then Sansa goes and tells Tyrion right away, which leads into the boat scene with Tyrion and Varys. So Tyrion is talking about how they can still, basically they have a chance to keep Dany on their side and on the sane side, and Varys is out. He basically says, I will not hesitate to take her out. I am loyal only to the realm, and I will only do what's good for the realm, and that is my only loyalty in this world. So that's basically saying that Varys is not going to hesitate to have someone kill Daenerys if that's what's needed, and that's such a huge foreshadow. And then one thing that they hit on for more fan service on the boat, I think, so we don't keep asking for it, is the thought of this dual rule between Jon and Dany, and that they cut it out completely on the boat. And here's why. They said, well, Varys says Jon would always succumb to Dany. It would be Dany ruling through both of them in the same way that Dany just made the decision in the battle planning, even though that obviously wasn't the best idea. Jon would have no say. That's why they can't dual rule. So for all of us fans who want it to be a happy ending and a dual rule, they're basically saying right now, it ain't going to be a dual rule, people. So stop asking for it, and here's why. So what did you think of the boat scene between Tyrion and Varys?
I think you summed it up really well. Everyone's backing out on Dany. She's gone full mad. I really didn't understand for the longest time why they couldn't do the dual rule, and I thought that could possibly be the end game, but like you said, there's no way it can happen. And you saw it when Jon and Dany were in the bedroom together and then going into the battle plans. Jon would do whatever Dany says. I mean, that's proven, and everyone knows that. So it wouldn't work out, because if they're dual ruling, it's pretty much just Dany ruling. And if that happens, I think we're going full Mad Queen here. Yeah,
100%. You said it well.
So the next scene, Euron. Big time fucker Euron scene.
That's how it's labeled on our show notes, everybody.
Yeah. So, like you said earlier, anytime someone gets on a boat, nothing good's coming. So no one should have been surprised here. Rhaegal was doomed from the beginning. Honestly, I thought when he was flying, kind of limping around earlier in the episode, he was done. I didn't know it was going to happen like that, but yeah, tragic death. That was tough. Tough watching him go down into the sea. At least he's not coming back like Viserion did.
Right.
I'm just going to go ahead and read your show note because I love this. How in the hell do the Scorpions go from the most accurate lethal weapons ever to not being able to hit Drogon with like a million shots? You can't sum it up any better than that. How many bolts did they just rip at Drogon? And they're going straight at the ships, and she just, banks left, and nothing can hit. So, Dany, I think, needs to become a little bit better of a dragon rider if she's going to keep going here. You got to swerve a little bit, like throw them off. You can't just go on a straight
Serpentine!
line. Exactly. And then, Euron. That guy is a savage. I think people have been sleeping on Euron for a while, thinking he's kind of basically just there to bring over the Golden Company, and that's it. Well, this guy is a force to be reckoned with. He's a badass. I hate him. Can't wait for his death. I don't know who's going to kill him, but, hopefully it's Yara getting some revenge. This dude, he needs to go.
Yeah, needs to die. A savage, gruesome, torturous death, 10 times as bad as Ramsay, because you can kill everyone you want, but if you kill a dragon, you're dead to me, and I hate you, and I want your ancestors to live and have to run daily marathons on broken glass. I hate you, and you're the worst. And you're right. People were sleeping on Euron, kind of thinking he's, kind of falling off a little bit into a dipshit territory. But when they couldn't hit Drogon, I was as confused as that little girl in the AT&T commercial or the little guy in the AT&T commercial when he's like, but what about the animals? What would they be made of? I was so confused how they couldn't hit Drogon. But anyways, let's move on to, very short scene, but I still think impactful that we need to hit on. Cersei telling Euron that the baby is his. I called that in the prediction, once he put his hand on Cersei's stomach after they fornicated, and she cut off ties with Jaime. That baby went from being Jaime's, even though she told Jaime it would be his, to being Euron's 100%. A more legitimate claim to the throne, obviously not born out of incest. Any thoughts on that?
One thing that I think we should touch on here is Missandei being back in chains. And Cersei makes the comment, so much for breaker of chains. Cersei's savage. She's a bad bitch. So
Great point. We didn't talk about that earlier.
Yeah. So the next portion, okay, we already talked about Jaime and Brienne. So the final scene, Dany bringing whatever the hell's left of her Unsullied that she brought with her, going up to the gates. Tyrion, I thought this was a great scene from Tyrion. I thought they did a great job filming this set.
Yeah.
Walking out and trying to talk to Qyburn and basically realizing Qyburn's a moron. He's just the mouth of Cersei. He's going to say whatever she says. And so he rolls up, and I thought they did a great job. Cersei's actress is amazing. She's been great this whole season.
Yeah.
The whole show. And I thought it was great how he was trying to humanize her. He was doing everything he could to make it so she seemed like a normal person and she has beliefs, but she's full gone, man. And she proved it. And then going into the zombie mountain, rolling up and hitting a dinger. That dude took her head almost 450 right over the fence.
At an exit velocity of 4,000 miles an hour.
Yeah. But Missandei saying Dracarys right before she died was not so she could get, like you said, it's not so she could get Drogon to come up and just start attacking. It was for Daenerys saying, fuck these people, no one here, do whatever you can, kill everybody, and I think that's the straw that broke the camel's back. Even if she wasn't already gone, she is now. She's got both of her most trusted advisors. Obviously, Missandei's dead. Grey Worm's only out for revenge. He now for sure doesn't care about his own life. She doesn't trust Tyrion and Varys. I wouldn't either.
Right.
And obviously she I mean, John's the only one who could potentially save her, but she's gone, man. It's full Mad Queen, and that's. I mean, those are my thoughts. Go ahead, Endo.
Yeah, you said everything we said earlier. It's like Tyrion. One thing is that Tyrion keeps continuing to foreshadow children. He talks about Cersei's child a lot. He's the one that always brings up children and heirs, and I feel like that's going to come into play a little bit more, and I'm not sure how, because I think everyone thinks that Dany's going to die next episode, so maybe it's going to have something more to do with Cersei's child, and people think that like the death of Cersei's child or something like that is going to set her over the edge. She's already over the edge. Like she is insane. She's been over the edge for years. So like the reason that child isn't going to be born is not because of a stillbirth or a miscarriage. It's going to be not born because Cersei's going to die. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Jon and Dany, because I think that they've been foreshadowing their child, but now that Dany's just off the rails, we don't even know if she's pregnant. So in my opinion, I don't think that there's time for her to get pregnant and have a child. So sorry anyone who wanted that to happen, but who knows? It is Game of Thrones. They threw some curveballs at us this episode, and they're obviously going to next episode as well. But you're right. That final Dracarys is the straw that broke the camel's back, and she's just falling deeper and deeper into that despair, into the Mad Queen mode. So let's move into our final thoughts scenes, or our final thoughts talk. So biggest thing is that what I said before is that now it's Mad Queen versus Mad Queen. This is not a two-way battle. Mad Queen. Then we've got Jon up here who's going to come in and try and split the difference, and he's going to have to almost fight on two fronts, in my opinion. And then on top of that, I think one overarching theme in this episode was everything you've been through has led you to where you are, and that's evidenced by Arya. Even from season 1, episode 3 or 4, when they're in King's Landing and she tells Ned she doesn't want to be a lady. And then everything she went through as, dancing class with Syrio to her assassin training, with the Faceless Men, has led her to where she is right now. And then same thing with Sansa. All the horrific atrocities she's been through, where she was the biggest bitch ever in in season 1 and in season 2. And then she went through hell, and now she's awesome. Jamie, everything he's ever been through, he says it. Push a kid out of a window and now he's a cripple. And everything I ever did was for Cersei, and it's made me who I am. Now what's he going to go do? And then Dany, all of her ups and downs throughout the entire series, everything she's been through has led her to where she is right now, and has led to who she is right now, the Mad Queen. What about you?
Yeah, I think you summed it up well. Dany, really bummed. I mean, she's done so much good, and the biggest problem is she's got one goal in mind, and at this point, she's willing to do whatever it's going to take it, and that's not going to end up well for her, because you don't want another Mad King or Queen sitting on the throne.
Right.
I'm excited for what's to come. I got a lot of theories floating around. I know we've talked about some.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But great episode. I thought, classic Thrones. They brought it back to its roots, and I'm glad they did it that way, and can't wait for next week.
Heck yeah. And I'll finish with this, guys. It's for all you fans out there, all 50 or 30 of you. I think there's like 20 of you now, but it's setting up for a tragic end. And although it's fitting for Thrones, I can't help but be a little bit more melancholy this week, knowing that it's not going to be bittersweet. It's just going to be a bitter ending. So prepare yourself. It's going to be a huge episode. The penultimate episode is always the craziest. Then episode 6 will be a lot of falling action. But it's great to have Brody on. Thanks for coming on, Brody, and good luck at Chargers camp this week. Hopefully we can get you on if you have some free time before Sunday for some predictions slash theorizing. So good luck this weekend, and thanks for coming on.
Yep, thanks for having me, Endo. Take it easy, everybody.
Goodbye, Realm.
Come on again.
We'll see you.
See you.